Alright guys, gonna have a really quick look at Moss Carbon, and just to say that from the recent low to the high we are bouncing between the 618 and the 786. We've come back and retested the low, and now it looks like we could be ready to continue. This one might tail off. It's got a habit of tailing off, but if it's going to go, it's going to go soon. Um, and just to show you a couple of other things I've been looking at is that from our recent high, giga pump on the 23rd of Jan, we have kind of formed a wedge. And I'm not a huge fan of wedges, but when they're essentially shaped like a flag, I'm a fan, if that makes any sort of sense. Um, so yeah, normally when you see a flag formation created like this, we tend to then have another level up, very similar to what we'd have seen on the 23rd of Jan. Um, so yeah, not financial advice, but I continue to be bullish on this token. Day by day, it's a bit of a pain in the bum to try and forecast like when and where we're going to go. This thing just seems to take off with leisure and then dumps just as hard. So watch out for the 10 or 15% pump and dumps. But in the long term, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And just to show you as well, on a less positive note, this is a 3 monthly review. We tend to have a tail off to a low and then a significant move, and then we tend to again tail off down to a low and then a significant move. So although I'm bullish for continuation in the short term and long term, purely for the fact that this one's now come to market, it's been more widely adopted and noted, and there are some token burns that are happening to help this thing progress. I cannot avoid the similarities that essentially we've had a big move, a tail off, and then we've had like a recovery, a tail off, and then a recovery. We've essentially seen that here already. We've had a big move, a tail off, a recovery, a tail off, and a slight recovery. Now, it's not 100% fitting the recent move to the previous. We do seem to be far more bullish with our recoveries than we have been previously, but we could be looking at something that sees us tail off back. I wouldn't like to say as low as 4.7. That would probably bankrupt me. But the likelihood is that at some point in time, if this thing doesn't launch soon, 1093, where we've already been, could be back on the table. So watch out for holding 1093. If we go lower, we could descend back into this sort of pattern before we see another leg higher. Now, as you can see with this thing, each time there's a big move, it does have a strong tail off and then swings higher. We've seen that once, twice now. We saw it begin on 4th of December, and then we saw it again on the 20th of Jan. So they seem to be a month apart. So if that pattern is going to continue, kind of look out for where was that? That was first week of December. That was first week of Jan. Sorry, last week of Jan. Sort of look at. Sorry, my brain is not in gear. So that was the first week of December, last week of Jan. So 8 weeks between. So we kind of be looking at tailing off until the end of March. So if this thing doesn't make a move soon and really level up, and I'd say break above and hold above 1880, which does seem to be where it's got its biggest resistance of getting above. If we don't see continuation, which sees us get to 15 to 18 and hold there, then we might tail off back down towards yeah, yeah. The more I'm looking at this, the more it seems to be playing out. So yeah, if we don't see a move come imminently over the next couple of days and we begin to tail off, realistically we're going to tail off back to 10, possibly sub 10, and then we'd have to look at reopening a position in March. Um, Not financial advice, but in the short term, I think as soon as we break above 1160, we're going to be off on another move. But like I say, if we do tail off, we're going to realistically tail off to between 1060 and 980, and then we'd have to have a look at March for reopening the position. So there's a lot of information to divulge there. You might want to sort of rewind and go back over a few things I've said, but just to say, long term I'm really bullish. They are burning tokens now like they haven't done before, but just looking at the history and history repeating itself, if we don't go now, we may tail off and then go again in March. All right, best of luck. See you on the next one.